He is not being charged with crimes against Cassie. He's being charged with crimes against other. Cassie was paid and dismissed. Why is she being brought back into court after taking that man's money and testifying against him? That right there is clearly an excessive and abusive use of the law.
Before the name Diddy became the center of one of America's most shocking legal scandals, he was once the embodiment of success in the music industry. Sean "Diddy" Combs wasn't just a famous rapper, he was the mogul behind Bad Boy Records, the label that launched the legendary career of Notorious B.I.G. Alongside his booming music empire, Diddy also built ventures in fashion, liquor, and entertainment media. His name was often linked with A-list stars like Jennifer Lopez, Beyoncé, and Jay-Z. But the glitz and glamour didn't always reflect the reality behind the scenes. One of the earliest and most shocking incidents in Diddy's career was the 1999 shooting at Club New York. The incident left multiple people injured and dragged Diddy and then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez into a high-profile investigation. Although he was ultimately acquitted, the damage to his public image was undeniable. Industry insiders often whispered that Diddy had a flair for living large, but also dangerously close to the edge of the law. There's a story often retold in Hollywood party circles. At a lavish party hosted by Jay-Z, Diddy once stood up in front of a crowd of VIPs and jokingly said, "The paparazzi might follow me, but the law can never catch me." The crowd roared with laughter back then. But 25 years later, that comment hits more like a bitter prophecy than a punchline. After years of skirting major scandals, Diddy is now facing a federal trial, not just another bar fight or traffic violation. This is a serious legal battle involving allegations of human trafficking, operating a sex trafficking ring, and organized acts of sexual violence. The charges have shocked not only the media but also the public, especially his most loyal fans, who are now questioning everything they once believed about their idol.
Today, in a New York federal courtroom, Sean "Diddy" Combs told the judge he was, quote, "a little nervous." The rap mogul's criminal trial began this morning. He is sex trafficking, racketeering, and more. The two sides are now in the process of selecting a jury of 12 plus alternates.
This morning, day 2 of jury selection in the racketeering and sex trafficking trial of Sean Combs, seen in court with graying hair. Federal prosecutors are trying to prove Combs used his power, wealth, and fame to force women into drug-fueled orgies he called freak-offs and then threaten them into silence.
The jury questionnaire warning potential jurors there may be evidence of sexually explicit videos, photographs, and language. Many prospective jurors said they had heard of the case and this potentially damning evidence. Video first obtained by CNN showing Combs knocking then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura to the floor of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 and kicking and dragging her. It was upsetting to watch, one woman told the judge, but I don't know the full story, so I can listen to the facts.
Many prospective jurors said they recognized the names of other celebrities that might come up at trial.
Several potential jurors knew of Combs' cultural significance. The woman said she remembered him from making the band. A man said he liked to listen to hip-hop in the 1990s.
Will Diddy remain the uncrowned king of the entertainment world, or will he become a cautionary tale about the price of power and arrogance? The story is just beginning. Morning at the federal courthouse in New York is no longer its usual calm. By 8 a.m., a long line of reporters, bloggers, and fans has already formed outside the gates, holding cameras, mics, and phones, ready to capture a historic moment. In what some are calling the O.J. Simpson trial of our time, Diddy, once featured on the cover of Forbes as hip-hop's black billionaire, now sits at the defendant's table, under the scrutiny of dozens of cameras and hundreds of skeptical eyes. From the very first day of jury selection, the atmosphere in the courtroom was tense. Diddy's legal team, known for their fierce reputation, chose their words carefully. But what truly electrified the public was the unexpected arrival of Ben Chew, the lawyer who famously helped Johnny Depp win his defamation suit against Amber Heard.
Mr. Depp built a reputation as one of the most talented actors in Hollywood, a respected artist whose name was associated with success at the box office. Today, his name is associated with a lie.
For those who closely follow celebrity legal drama, Ben Chew isn't just a lawyer. He's a symbol of restored justice, a game changer that any star would want on their side in court. Ben Chew's involvement sent shockwaves through the media. Headlines exploded. Depp's savior joins Diddy. Hollywood's legal avenger returns. Even casual entertainment followers started paying attention. Because if Ben Chew was on the case, this wasn't just another celebrity lawsuit. It was a high-stakes legal showdown where the law wasn't just being used to prosecute, but to defend honor and redefine power in the entertainment world. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled that Ben Chew agreed to take the case after a last-minute, 42-minute emergency phone call with a special representative of Diddy's team. At the end of that conversation, the rep reportedly said just one line: "If you saved Johnny, you can save Puff." But unlike Depp, who gained widespread public sympathy as a wrongfully smeared victim, Diddy is in a much more precarious position. The allegations against him are more severe and systemic. Some legal commentators have even said, this case could set a new precedent for how courts handle organized sexual assault claims involving celebrities. Still, Ben Chew's debut instantly shifted the media narrative. Diddy's fragmented fan base, which had begun to fall apart under the weight of the accusations, started rallying again under hashtags like #InChewWeTrust and #JusticeForDiddy. They believed, if he did it once, he can do it again.
Ben Chew, you put Johnny Depp on the stand. It's always a high-risk strategy. It worked for you. If you were representing Sean Diddy Combs, would you put him up?
Well, we put Johnny up because he was telling the truth. So that was a very easy decision to make, and he had the burden of proof, and frankly, we couldn't have stopped him even if we wanted to, but we didn't want to. Telling the truth as he did over several days, you're not telling the truth, skilled attorneys on the other side are going to puncture that. I believe in that system. I think in this case, I don't think he's got any choice. Given that video, he's got to explain it. He's got to say that he's terribly sorry for it, but that was an aberration. That's not who he is. He simply has to say that. I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Do you care where they get their news? Do you care if they go on social media?
I wouldn't care so much about social media. Certainly watching you on Law and Crime would be a real problem. But no, I wouldn't care too much. I mean, in fact, if they were reading the celebrity media, TMZ, Rolling Stone, that might be an encouraging thing for Diddy's counsel.
The trial had begun, but the truth and justice were still buried under layers of secrecy. One thing was certain, with Ben Chew entering the scene, Hollywood could no longer afford to look the other way. Cassie Ventura, a name that had seemingly faded from the entertainment spotlight, has now reemerged as a central figure in a case that could reshape how Hollywood grapples with power and morality. Once a young singer under Diddy's wing, their professional relationship quickly turned into a long-term romance. But behind the red carpet photos and luxury getaways were persistent rumors of control, jealousy, and emotional abuse. What was once dismissed as celebrity bedroom gossip is now being scrutinized in a courtroom where Cassie has been called to testify as a witness. What's dividing public opinion is the fact that Cassie once accepted a settlement that included a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, a legal document preventing her from revealing any information about Diddy. She signed it. She also disappeared from the public eye for years. But now she's back, not with a comeback single, but with testimony that could decide the fate of a media tycoon. The situation has ignited intense debate. Some say Cassie is playing both sides, arguing that after taking the money, she shouldn't be allowed to testify. In a viral clip, activist Dr. Umar called the court's decision to let her speak a textbook example of legal abuse.
How you feel about Cassie testifying against Diddy?
Yes, sir. First of all, it should be absolutely illegal for Cassie to testify against Diddy. When he paid her off, I believe there was an NDA involved in that situation. He was paying her off to shut up and go away. After all the money he paid her, after her signing an NDA, how can she then be brought back into court to testify against him? It reminds me of Bill Cosby. Some of those women who lied on Bill Cosby during his sex abuse cases had NDAs. And the court let them break the NDA. You never see this with a white man accused of the same. You never see this with a Caucasian accused of the same. His lawyer should do all that they can to fight against Cassie testifying. She wasn't sex trafficked. So why are you testifying in a sex trafficking case? He is not being charged with crimes against Cassie. He's being charged with crimes against others. Cassie was paid and dismissed. Why is she being brought back into court after taking that man's money and testifying against him? That right there is clearly an excessive and abusive use of the law.
Prosecutors argue that her testimony could unlock a pattern of behavior, years of alleged control and abuse, that may connect to other victims. While Cassie isn't listed as a primary victim in the current charges, what she knows and what she's seen could be critical. But what truly makes Cassie the center of attention isn't just what she says, it's what she represents, a new wave in entertainment where the formerly silent are finally speaking out, regardless of contracts, money, or the power that once kept them quiet. In this wave, Cassie is no longer just a singer, she's a symbol. A moral test not only for the legal system, but also for audiences who once danced to the music while ignoring the cries backstage. A high-profile criminal trial doesn't rest solely in the hands of lawyers or the accused. It hinges on 12 anonymous individuals, the jury. Who are they? Where do they come from? And can they truly remain impartial amid a media firestorm and the crushing weight of public scrutiny?
They also say they found recordings of freak-offs, and the evidence was then used to blackmail these women if they didn't cooperate more.
Diddy's longtime ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, filing a lawsuit against him last year that changed everything.
He would direct her how to touch the sex worker, how to pour oil over her body, and he would watch these things happen while he was masturbating.
Cassie Ventura's lawsuit gave the blueprint for the Southern District of New York to investigate Sean Combs, and the lawsuits that followed gave the brick and mortar to build the case against him.
The jury selection process for Diddy's trial played out more like a casting call than a legal procedure. Over the first 3 days, 167 people were summoned to court to answer nearly 100 yes or no questions, ranging from where they get their news, to their political views, to their attitudes toward celebrities. On the surface, these seemed like simple inquiries. In reality, they were tools used by both sides to uncover potential biases. Who's easily influenced? Who sympathizes with fame? Who harbors prejudice against alleged victims? Among them were people from all walks of life, a designer, a nurse, a retired doctor, a factory worker, and a lab technician. None of them were famous, but over the next several weeks, they would hold the power to determine the fate of one of the most influential figures in American entertainment. They represented justice, but they were still human, with their own preconceptions, emotions, and life experiences. Leaked information from the trial revealed that at least 3 prospective jurors had previously watched or shared videos with the hashtag #SurvivingDiddy, a semi-investigative series that's been circulating on TikTok in recent months. One admitted to regularly following celebrity drama podcasts and said they'd always been suspicious of Cassie. Another remarked, "I'm not a Diddy fan, but I do think everyone deserves a fair trial." The problem is, fairness may be a luxury in the social media age. When a trial isn't confined to a courtroom, but is live-streamed across the collective consciousness of TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, everyone, including jurors, can be influenced. They might not read the news, but their friends do. They may not be on YouTube, but their kids are definitely talking about the case at school. A recent viral clip showed a potential juror, during a smoke break, saying, "I'm not sure I can stay neutral. I haven't even forgiven Kanye yet." It was meant as a joke, but quickly turned into a meme highlighting a deeper truth. Impartiality is no longer just a legal challenge, it's a cultural one. In Diddy's trial, the jury isn't just judging one man. They're confronting the weight of an entire era, one where the lines between victim and power player have blurred, and where their verdict will live not just in court records, but in the minds of the public. As the ultimate symbol of American justice in crisis, Diddy's trial could stretch on for weeks, maybe even months. The evidence will be dissected, witnesses will continue to take the stand, and the members of the jury, with their own pasts and personal biases, will be tasked with deciding whether one of America's most iconic music figures is truly guilty, or just the latest casualty of a justice and media machine that's grown increasingly complex. But no matter what verdict is ultimately handed down, one thing is undeniable. This trial isn't just about Diddy. It's a collective moral test for the public, for celebrities, and for the entire American legal system.